This video will contain spoilers. And review Yakuza Like a Dragon. This really is a fucking Legacy sequel because, like, when Kiryu came back for that one cutscene, I thought, right, okay, if they bring him back, I didn't know about that. There are some things that I've had spoiled about Infinite Wealth and Manny is his name, but I didn't get really anything spoiled for Like a Dragon other than the fact that he goes to prison. So I wasn't expecting Kiri to come back, and I thought, right, if you're going to bring him back, at least do it right. And he had basically just a cameo. Um, but then he appears later in the game, and it truly is a legacy sequel moment because the chapter that he appears in is called "Passing the Torch." That's the fucking point of a legacy sequel, and it's just like they don't fully explain the reason why he came back because, like, what's the reason of faking your death if you're just gonna not stay away from your friends, you know? Unless he faked his death to get away from Haruka. Like, but now that I've beat the game, my opinion on it has not changed really. I still think Ichiban is not the perfect protagonist. He's grown on me, but he's nowhere near perfect. There are much better protagonists, including Kiru. Um, and the game overall just with the whole turn-based thing, it makes the game challenging, but it meant I had to do a lot of grinding because when I got to the Majima fight, E is level 50 and I was level 39 at the time, so I had to go to the Sotenbori dungeon and just keep doing that over and over till I got I think I went to 55 before I fought him, and then I looked up what level I should be for the end, without spoiling myself, and I was told one person said around level 70, another person said early to mid 60s. I did it at about 65, I think, and the Tendo boss fight was like I'm surprised I did it in one attempt because it was really fucking hard. I hit him with the most powerful stuff I had. I used every single pound mate that I had, and they were doing basically nothing. Like the most damage I ever did was like 2,000, and it was just a couple centimeters off his health bar. And I think it's kind. I get that the Aoki is not like he's not much of a fighter physically, but it's just it's kind of stupid that the real, even though it's not the final boss fight, it's like it might as well be the final boss fight, is like a henchman basically, and then after that you just have a sort of bonus where you fight the real bad guy, but the fight is piss easy, even when you have your weapons taken away from you and all your allies. So overall, uh, I'm glad that Yakuza isn't over, but it's not going to be the same. Moving on, The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It. Mixed ratings. I watched it in the cinema. Did not mean to do that. Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, Sarah Catherine Hook, John Noble. James Wan does not appear in this, but he does have a cameo in Last Rites. Patrick Stewart's not in it. Before I move on, I'm just gonna blow my nose and move to my chair. I'm sitting on bed right now. That's much better. Uh, I'm glad that the film is different from the first two, because a problem I had with the second film is that it's too similar to the first one. I do like the whole legal aspect of it. Um, Even though I know nothing about these real life cases, but I knew that he was obviously going to be found guilty because, you know, this is the 1980s we're talking about. Obviously, there's not a single person on the jury that would believe that, you know, someone was possessed and killed their family because of that. Um, so like other than that, I just like when you move past the fact that that's coming. I do think it's really enjoyable. John Noble, great uh, addition to the series, even if it's only just this film. And the twist I thought was quite well done, even though it was not like it's smart writing or anything like that. It's just his acting. I feel like really sort of sold it. Although the whole thing of like why his daughter does all this, it's just kind of, I'm not a fan of it. Where I seen this a while ago. When did I see this? The 4th of September, so 9 days ago. I seen it. By the way, this is the film that I was waiting to watch while I made my Eddington review. Um, but I think what it was that because her dad was obsessed with like the occult and things like that, she became obsessed, but she became obsessed sort of in the opposite direction than him, if you know what I mean. And it's just I don't get it, and I don't think it's all that good. I mean, The Conjuring never really had good writing in the first place, but it's just no, I don't know. I'm just gonna move on. So I watched that on the 4th. On the 5th, the cinema started what they call the movie marathon. They brought back 7 old movies. All of them I have seen in the past. All of them I enjoy, so I wanted to watch all of them, and I went to watch all of them. So on the 5th, I went to watch Goodfellas, La La Land, and Pulp Fiction. On the 7th, I went to watch Alien, and then on the 8th, I watched The Conjuring, Last Rites, universally negative ratings. I watched it in cinema. Vera Farmiga, Patrick Wilson, Mackenzie Foy. Um, this this is easily the worst in the series. Uh, the trailer made the film look absolutely terrifying, and yeah, there were a couple times that I jumped, but I jumped because I'm a pussy. Like, it doesn't take much to make me jump. Everyone else I know has sort of thicker skin. Um, like the scene that Judy sort of imagines, I'm going to say, Annabelle coming back and like getting really really fucking big. It reminded me of, there was a scene I talked about in my Until Dawn review, where it was during the bit where they show all the footage that they shot on the phone, when I had that like time jump, and one of the videos was they were in this dark corridor, and at the end of the corridor they see someone, um, and he looks normal size, but he starts approaching, and as he starts approaching, you realize this guy is like 20 feet tall. That, like, it really fucking creeped me out, and the Annabelle scene was very very similar. So that really got me. But something that they shown in the trailer that like really got it didn't get me as much as Annabelle, but it's something I thought, fuck, like that was really scary. I need to watch this film. Was I think it's the scene where Judy, she becomes possessed, and she sort of like crawls onto the ground and approaches Lorraine, and there was just something about it in the trailer that really got me. But watching it in the film, it didn't. Maybe it's because I knew it was coming. Um, like really, any time I thought it was coming, I was like, "Is this it?" And sort of prepared myself, so it didn't get me because of that. Um, as for the rest of the jump scares, I think I jumped at a couple of them, but the Conjuring was never like really scary in the first place. Uh, I don't like the fact that this is called Last Rites, because yeah, this is based off the real life case that, like, the very last case that uh, Lorraine and Ed had investigated. Which I get that, but it's Hollywood. Let's be honest. With how successful these films are, it's like one of the most successful franchises of all time. It might even be the most successful horror franchise of all time. It's inevitable we're going to get another one. And this is just happening too often, where things are set up as the ending when it's just not. Like literally, well, I seen this on the 8th, and then on the 11th, I want to say, they announced they're making a new Conjuring movie. It's, it's Mission Impossible hasn't been announced yet, but it's inevitable that we're going to get another one, and not even like a reboot or of any sort. It's just going to be Tom Cruise again. Venom did it because, well, the less said about that, the better. And bunch of others. I'm not gonna mention Dexter because that's different. That's a good thing, because it is redeeming itself. All the rest that I mentioned is just cash grabs. Although Mission Impossible is going to be great. I also don't like the fact that they don't actually. This might be a bit weird, but like, because in 1, 2, and 3 they're fighting a a being, something that is physical. It had impact. Because they're fighting a fucking mirror in this film, it didn't have an impact, and it's just goofy. And it's weird because you do see beings, you see the demons or the ghosts or whatever the fuck you want to call them, but they don't fight them. And yeah, it doesn't make a difference, because really all the fighting is just like, may the power of Christ compel you. But like, this is what I mean by I'm probably weird for thinking this, because it doesn't make a difference. But it just, it lessens the impact, in my opinion. So this has so much potential, but it is the worst film in the series. That's not counting Annabelle and the Nun, because I haven't seen any of those films. Anyway, also on the 8th, wait, alright, yeah. Also on the 8th, I watched The Shawshank Redemption and The Matrix. And then on the 9th, I watched Shrek. On the 10th, I watched Honey Don't. Universally Negative Ratings. Directed by, which Coen brother is it? Ethan Coen. I watched it in cinema. Margaret Qualley, Aubrey Plaza, Chris Evans, Don Swayze, Charlie Day, Billy Eichner. Before I get into the review, I want to see if I can find this image. I could not find it, but it's basically this image where it's in the Coen brothers doing solo films have made them worse because the films we've had since they've split up are The Tragedy of Macbeth, which that has a positive rating on IMDb. I have not seen it because I don't fuck with Shakespeare. The only problems I can imagine someone having with it is one, it's an Apple movie, but Apple is based, so fuck you. Or two, the fact that they cast a black man as Macbeth, but I don't think the people that are making those memes care about race. So I doubt that's the reason. So I don't get that. And then next to that was Drive Away Dolls, which I really enjoyed. I thought it was quite good. And then Honey Don't. And I put a comment on that post saying, what's the problem with Macbeth? Drive Away Dolls was good, and Honey Don't looks good. Honey Don't is not good. I saw a review for it when I came out of the cinema. Um, and it it sort of described the film perfectly. It's just a bunch of man hating and Christian bashing because to give a very brief recap of the plot, Chris Evans is the leader of a cult and he has one of his flock murdered and it's covered up to look like an accident. Honey investigates it for no reason. She wasn't friends with this person. She was not she was contacted about it by someone that the film never explains. When the police asked why she was on the scene, they asked her if she knew the client. She said no. I say the client, I mean the dead person. They asked, was she a client? No. Then why are you here? And I think she just moved on. She didn't give a response. Uh, she then has to go to a back room in the police station to get an address for the victim. And Aubrey Plaza is working in that section of the building, and they flirt, and eventually they have sex. And it goes back to Chris Evans just fucking about. And then it goes back to Aubrey Plaza and Margaret Qualley having sex again. And then Margaret's niece goes missing and she investigates that. She has sex with Aubrey Plaza one more time. She finally learns that Aubrey Plaza is actually kidnapped Margaret's niece. The film does not explain why. Margaret kills Aubrey. This French woman who was responsible for the cover up at the very start of the film runs into. She kills Chris Evans, and at the very end of the film, she meets Margaret. They flirt, and the film ends. So it's like 70% sex scenes, and it doesn't actually have an ending. I'm gonna put my feet up for this. Give me a second. I don't even know what to say because I would like to imagine that when you hear that description in the film, and I would like to say that's a pretty fucking accurate description of what happens in the film. Like, I didn't exaggerate. I didn't make anything up. The sequence of events were out of order, but it did. I don't think that would affect the quality of the movie. So I think you have a pretty clear image of how bad the movie is. As for the humor, it was funny-ish. Chris Evans was really funny, but the others, eh. And that's all I can really say. Like, I'm not a prude, but this film is more porn than cinema. One more thing I want to mention is the fact that Margaret Qualley's character was gay, which I find a bit weird because she was gay in Driveway Dolls. And I thought maybe because it's, as far as I know, Driveway Dolls was Ethan's first solo film, and Honey Don't is his second. As far as I know, Joel made Macbeth. And I thought, right, okay, him casting Margaret as the main character again, yeah, that's fine. Like, if I were a film director, I would like to have my Robert De Niro, you know? And Margaret is his De Niro. But making her gay just felt kind of weird because it feels like he's kind of recycling character aspects. That might sound homophobic. If it is, I'm sorry, I don't mean it like that. But I don't. It would make sense if Joel and or Margaret were gay, but they're not. Joel is married to a woman. Margaret is married to a man. Maybe they're both bi or one of them are bi. I don't know, but it's just weird. Moving on. After watching Honey Don't, I went to watch The Cut. Universally negative ratings. I watched it in cinema. I need to blow my nose again. Orlando Bloom, John Turturro. I would have thought that this would have been worse than Honey Don't, but no, this is actually better. Although I kind of set my expectations wrong because to call this a thriller is, I wouldn't say that's accurate. I've never seen that show Maniac, but I thought that this film would have been like that show based on what I've seen in the trailer, where it's basically just Orlando Bloom gets really high and trips out, and that's the whole film. But the drugs don't get introduced until like 2/3 through the film, and what we get before that is it's it's okay. It's nothing. That's why I say it's nothing special, but that's not what I'm. It is nothing special, but that's not what I'm looking to say. It's nothing really worth talking about, I guess. Um, by the end of the film, I thought that maybe the whole point of the film was that to sort of get the message out that athletes, sports people, whatever you want to call them, they a lot of them will do fucked up things to their body just to win, and it's not right. It needs to stop. Like I thought, well, the way the film would end was that he sacrifices so much, and by the end, he still can't participate. I should have give a brief rundown of the not the plot, but the synopsis. He's hired to do a boxing match, but he's overweight, and he has 1 week to lose it. Which I'm not like physically fit. I don't know how realistic all the stuff is, but the way the film sort of like portrays it is that losing the amount he needs to lose in 1 week is very, very tough, but possible. Sorry, I need to blow my nose again. So, I thought the way the film would end was that by the end of the week, after sacrificing his marriage, his physical health, all that, he still isn't underweight. And that is the way the film ends. But he cuts off 2 of his fingers and participates. And I do like that, because it's not that deep, bro. You don't need to do that. You don't need to put your body through hell and all that. So, even though the film is kind of boring, it redeems itself with that ending. Since then, I've seen The Long Walk, but that is a separate review for reasons I won't get into. I also seen uh, the Infinity Castle movie, but I won't be doing a review for that because I'm just going to do all of Demon Slayer as one thing. Even though I watched Mugen Train as a film, I'm still going to treat that as a show, or as part of the show. And I'm going to treat Infinity Castle as part of the show. I do realize that that means that I'm not going to do the FR until 2029 at least, by which point it would have been 4 years since I started the fucking show, and I'm not going to remember much. But screw it. I am prepared to do that. If I were making reviews back in 2003, and if I were alive in 2003, and I started NCIS then, guess what? I would have waited at least 22 years to make the FR. So, I am prepared to wait until 2029 to talk about Infinity Castle. What I will say is, I seen it in 4D, and it was amazing. As for upcoming stuff, there's a film that's been out for 2 weeks now that I was going to watch on my own last week, but then Dylan said that he wants to watch it just because there's a sex scene in it. And we were supposed to watch it today, but I think he forgot, or at work or something, so we're not watching it today. I don't actually know when we're watching it. We're also planning on watching the English dub of Demon Slayer on Monday, and then if we can get in for free to watch the Japanese dub on Tuesday, we will, because the website might consider it 2 separate films. And also, we didn't use our passes to watch it the first time because we had to go to a separate cinema for the 4D. What else? There is a sequel to a film that is currently out, or coming out very soon. There's just no fucking date here, okay? Uh, Point being, it's a film. There is a film that is coming out, or is out already. It is a sequel. I have not seen the first one, so I'm gonna need to do that and then watch the sequel if I enjoy the first one. That's all I know so far. There is other things coming out soon, but one part of the website is ahead of the other part of the website, and it's so I don't know what exactly is going on. All I know is that, like, the rest of the month, the only thing they've said that will be out is that film with Margot Robbie and Colin Farrell. I don't even know the plot of that movie, so I don't know if I want to watch it or not. As for games, I am replaying Like a Dragon because turns out the PS5 version does not auto pop. And then after that, I will be taking a break from games because my Skybox is at 91% capacity, which means I'm going to need to watch a hell of a lot of stuff to get that way down. I want to get it down to at least 70. So there are there's one show two shows in particular that I am planning on watching to get it down because they're the ones that are taking up the most space. One of them is over, so FR coming hopefully soon for that, but no promises.